So let's see. So some of the topics today we're going to talk about is the ether and the etheric body, which has to do with the pentagram. Um, yeah, there we go. Uh, the pentagram and the manifestation into structure and form, the Baphomet grid, which is one of the things that the autist had shown me, and the Luciferian covenant, how the inverted pentagram relates to that, the reversal systems of 3D reality. I mean, there's a lot of reversal systems, that create this phantom matrix and keeps us in a 3D consciousness. And so the Baphomet grid is just one of them, but I think it's a significant one. And how our autists even then choose not to connect to their body because of this Baphomet grid. Talk a little bit about the 13 Zodiac and the solar system's role in correcting the manifestation of our genetic blueprint. The Mother Arc Gateway has changed, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Andromedan gates. And then I have several new energetic images that'll support the corrections and the clearing, dissolving old imprints like personality matrix, weave new personality matrix, a vulture, crystalline dragon eggs, and more. So these are some of the kind of things that I'll be presenting today. Come on. So the meditation intention will be to dissolve the imprinting of the Baphomet grid in our physical bodies and activate the emerald gold pentagram from the emerald gold star icosahedron, which is how our soul comes into this universal time matrix and how we're supposed to exit out. So in these closed systems, many souls were not really actually able to leave the universal time matrix, and then have been recycling in like karmic cycles over and over again. Um, so we are in the meditation, we are going to activate our 13th zodiac birth chart again if you haven't already done it. And if you don't want to do the meditation today, that is okay. Which has been present. So the 13th zodiac has been present since birth, but not accessible due to overlays of the phantom matrix. So I'll try and describe why the 13th zodiac is important, and how it will bring actual ease to our bodies, and our autists will also feel easier in their bodies because of these 13 zodiac, the 13 zodiac system and the way we're accessing the ethers now. So we activate our solar system chart as well to harmonize our physical body systems to our unique personal soul matrix, thus activating our unique soul mission for the bifurcation. It's underway. So ether, well, yeah, first we have to talk a little bit about ether. And you'll see ether, me spelling ether two different ways, that this way and then the traditional way with just without the A. So just an FYI. But so the topic of ethers is complex, and we must be careful not to reduce these complex conditions and phenomena to simplistic descriptions. And I thought I couldn't say it better. It's from this website, Biodynamicus. They study a lot of Rudolf Steiner's work, and Dr. Ernst Marti. Dr. Ernst Marti tried to work to carry forward the work of Rudolf Steiner as well. I can't remember when Rudolf Steiner passed away. I think it was like in the mid 50s or something like that, or maybe 60s. And Ernst Marti passed away in the mid 80s, I think. So this is one website that I found. So the following material about ether is to assist our understanding rather than our rational understanding. The language is an approximation of concepts that is very esoteric. So Yeah, I'm gonna try and talk about it, but we'll see if we can feel the information. I don't think I would have been able to grasp even bits and pieces of what they were talking about and what Rudolf Steiner was trying to convey, unless, I'm starting to have this inner feeling and sense about what ether is and how it plays a role in our morphogenetic, the activation of our genetic blueprint, actually. Yeah, so allow yourself to feel and sense the information. So it's one of the reasons why I have this, the Emerald Sun as the background today, so that it helps you to feel that information. Um, so anyway, yeah. Yeah. So it's in the context of what Rudolf Steiner discovered, and then further translation by Ernst Marti. So, just to note that, we have a few people in our Patreon group who are also members of Energetic Synthesis and Lisa Renee's material. So, um, in some ways, Rudolf Steiner's perspective of the history of our solar system is different than what Lisa Renee has presented. Like, he doesn't. I don't think he talks about Tara. Um, he talks about Lemuria and Atlantis a lot, and he has, perspectives about how the Earth formed. He sees them in their gaseous states and things like that when they coalesced. Uh, so it's not to say that one is wrong or one is better. And I'm not here to say that one is right or one is the other. I don't know how to reconcile, in a sense, the two. I certainly feel Tara, um, as a soul that I probably have been on Tara, but Rudolf Steiner definitely has some really good insights about topics like this, like ether. So, anyway, what is ether? Well, from Rudolf Steiner, uh, from biodynamics, this is what they said. Rudolf Steiner presented ethers, the four ethers. So here we have five, but let's just talk about the four that Rudolf Steiner had talked about, as describing as warmth, light, tone, and life ether. And again, trying not to think about it in terms of what we think of these things, but definitely related. So the ethers act into the four elemental states of fire, air, water, and earth as ordering, enlivening life forces. Warmth ether may be compared to the warmth of enthusiasm, the willingness to sacrifice, and the developing warmth that brings things to maturity. Light ether has a quality of wisdom that is actively creative, which is similar to when a new idea lights up in us. Tone ether arranges matter into ordered and harmonious relationships. Now, and this one is very important, the tone ether, as far as how the planets in the solar system actually work to order matter in harmonious relationship. That's a really important concept, that I've been feeling. So while life ether embodies the essence of something, its wholeness, living meaning, or word. So as bearers of cosmic formative forces, there is a relationship between the light ether and the etheric itself, the tone ether and the music of the planetary spheres, and the life ether with the creative forces of the zodiac. Um, so the fifth ether, from someone that I know who has studied Rudolf Steiner's work a lot, she said, that Rudolf Steiner had said, well, I didn't read this myself, but I feel is a reliable source, said that we have these four ethers, but we have not known this, what referred to as the sound ether. So this fifth sound ether it's not really sound as we think of today, but feels more like the total silence of the breath in the omniverse. So it's like total omnipresence and omniscience. So the sound ether is being transduced through Ophiuchus and brings a sense of peace and full body connection to source. And it feels like this sound ether then is sort of the basis of these other ethers in a sense. So this geometry around the earth here is the dodecahedron, which in the language of Platonic solids represents the element of ether. So Sam had me put this in a couple of weeks ago on this diagram here. So it fits very nicely into this pentagram or this pentagon. This would be the pentagram, the five-pointed star. And so if you can imagine what I was saying about Baphomet, the Baphomet turned upside down would be these two would be its horns at the top. So the inverted Baphomet, it feels like it's even been preventing us from, let's say, accessing the full nature of ether. So what ether feels like to me when we talk about ether is um, the breath, the cosmic breath, uh, as it is, in a sense, the spirit, the pure spirit that is then, let's say, I don't want to say divided, but kind of expressed in these other ethers um, for a very specific purpose in this universal time matrix to be enabled to have a form, to develop a form, to develop a structure, and to even have a body, a source expression, the avatar human, to be able to transduce matter, right? Matter as in atoms and subatomic particles, uh, to bring it to life, to have a body that will then be a vibrational match for the soul to express in a body, right? So um, this is what a lot of what this is about is being able to transduce the physical molecules into a living form and structure that the soul can inhabit, that the spirit can inhabit, so we can be the expression of source. And so this friend, she had also said that Rudolf Steiner felt that the pentagram, the five-pointed star, is the ether body. So what Sammy has been showing me, for the last few years, he kept showing me the star icosahedron, the 20-pointed star. And that's how the universal time matrix is opened for the soul or the spirit of source to come through and then inhabit a body. So the five-pointed star comes out of that 20-pointed star icosahedron. And I'm understanding why it was so important to her that she wasn't going to embody until we had these things, in place. These are the corrections, so to speak. So, and probably for a lot of the other autists as well. And I'll talk as we go here. I'll talk more about why then Ophiuchus is going to help them to feel a bit more ease in the body. Well, one of the reasons is right? That Sam and the other autists, they don't want to lose their connection to the omniverse, to source. Um, and so this is an important step in embodying, because it means now they don't have to lose that connection into the omniverse. Okay, so the other part that in this book, that I was reading, the etheric broadening science through anthroposophy, the world of formative forces by Dr. Ernst Marti. Um, and as I was reading it, this particular section was talking about, and again, referencing, using the analogy of a plant, and how a plant um, comes up out of the ground, and kind of in that, if you read that one of the posts that I put in Patreon, um, that the plant coming out of the ground, its impulse is to become formless again, you know. So our impulse, like us, we reach for the light. We uh come to this reality for a time being, but ultimately we want to be released, from the body as well. But so what are these forces, in a sense, that um transduces these ethers, so that we have a structure and a form, for a period of time, so to speak, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to hold the form, or, a light body would just, we would just poof, disappear again. So he's that tone ether is very significant. He talks a lot about tone, um, and eurythmy. So eurythmy, the definition when I looked it up, is the harmony of proportion in architecture. So I'll try to explain that in a bit here. Um, so this was a very significant paragraph here for me. So I couldn't say it any better, so I just took snapshots of it. So where in the plant are the vocalic morphogenic forces to be found that come from the plants? Vocalic meaning the vowels. Uh, Whereas consonantal, the consonants, morphogenic forces working alone or jointly bring forth all possible forms and morphologies, meaning like, a human body, a tree, a different plant, an animal. So those would be the kind of the variety of potentials of morphogenetic manifestations, let's say. So they bring forth all possible forms and morphologies. The planetary morphogenic forces build the structure and overall shape of the plant. So he was showing this diagram of how he had uh, differentiated these different vowel sounds associated with the planets. So you'll see Venus is A, E, Mars, I, Mercury, O, Jupiter, U, Saturn, and the AU as the sun, and EI as the moon. I do want to say that when Rudolf Steiner was working, he was mainly working with the 12 astrological signs, because that's what was kind of known, and that's, kind of the system that we've been in. So I don't know if these sounds are going to stay the same, but the underlying concept of what he's conveying, I feel like it's very accurate, because that's definitely something that I was feeling last week. Early last week, I was having these sudden experiences in my body, like, oh my gosh, what I need to dissolve my personality matrix, and it's the planets that are holding them in a certain pattern. And I felt like okay, I feel like it's a karmic pattern that's actually woven into my structure and form, and so kind of synchronistically, then when I came across this, I was like, I know exactly what he is saying, even if I couldn't articulate why um I was feeling that. So that's what kind of led me into looking at, okay, what is going on with Saturn, and Capricorn, and why do I feel like Saturn is affecting Mars? And then when I looked at Mars, Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, which I felt like, all right, the goat, the ram, there's a relationship there, um, and that Mars, what it plays an important role in the structure of our bones, the bone, the bone matrix, and how it uh, is supposed to be resonant. So, what is described in this book, the etheric book, um, and see if you can kind of feel this with me. He's describing a plant coming out of the ground. There is a vertical and horizontal axis. And in 3D, we also have depth. So there's the length, the width, and the depth of our bodies and our beings. And so what a plant. So coming out of the ground, it has, it shoots up a stem, and then it starts to sprout leaves, right? But there's a specific kind of order and a geometry to how these leaves grow out, right? So uh, what he's saying is that it's the planetary um, tonal harmonics, in a sense, that uh, enables the form and the structure based on what your morphology is supposed to be, whether you're a plant or a human or an animal. It follows a certain spiraling geometry. And so this is where we get that idea of the crystal spiral, or the Fib versus the Fibonacci spiral, which is not organic. The Fibonacci is not an organic spiral, in the sense, it's not, there's not a sense of ease in it. Like I was guided to read the A Flower of Life book by Drumvalo Melchizedek, probably like 10 years ago, all three of them. And I wasn't really sure why I was reading them, but it did describe the Fibonacci series, and how the Fibonacci series and the spiral comes about. And the Fibonacci is based on these ratios of a spiral going around a rectangle. And I didn't realize it then, but now when I think about it, going around a rectangle, it doesn't really feel natural. It feels kind of awkward, like you're trying to bend around those 90-degree angles. Um, Whereas if you, would see something like this, the crystal spiral, it's whoops. Okay. So the crystal spiral is more natural. It's going around in a more natural spiral. There isn't these sharp right angles that you have to turn, so to speak. So so this is what it's describing, is so the geometry, which is like the language of mathematics, and uh, the Platonic solids. These all play a role in how the body manifests in these particular proportions. Uh, so when you have a natural spiral, then that also feels like there's ease in the body. Like the crystal spiral goes 0, 1, 2, 4, 8. It just keeps doubling, and it sounds simplistic, but it's supposed to be simple. And so when the planets are also operating or we're accessing these planetary morphogenetic quote forces, then we get a form and a structure that feels much more aligned to the planet, aligned to the galaxy, the universe, and the cosmos, in general. So there's a harmonious, like eurythmy, a harmony, a proportion in the architecture. And going back to, again, that pentagram, that five-pointed star, that is a basis for the harmony of proportions. And that's why our bodies are formed like this five-pointed star, right? With the two hands, the two feet, and the head. It has like a five-pointed star pattern to it. And others have recognized this as well. I don't know if anybody has put the pieces together in the sense of the inverted Baphomet pentagram, that it's reversing it, and so therefore we've been operating in reversals. So this enables us to function in sound. Our bodies are like sound. So this tone ether, what it feels like, it enables these different notes, let's say, to exist. So it's not like sound as we kind of hear it again, but the tone is, different frequencies that is that puts us in alignment with the music of the spheres, the music of the universe, the music of our earth. And that's what brings us into harmony. So is that making sense? I mean, I know it might take a while to kind of process this, but I feel like you can feel that information in your body. If not now, then over the next few days, it may start to you might start to feel it a bit more. But anyway, and so what I was experiencing was this feeling of there's a new personality matrix that is trying to form, and this personality matrix is in alignment with my soul matrix. Like I could feel right in my heart, the soul matrix started to activate, and it started to weave, you know, like a different pattern. So that's what kind of what got me on this path now, what is happening. So if I'm feeling it, that means the energy or what the transmissions coming in are now trying to facilitate this. So let's talk a little bit about personality and identity matrix. Okay, somebody put in the chat here. Come on. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Linda. Another yes, making sense here. Was getting ready to say brings in the idea of the octaves with sound. Yeah, exactly. The different octaves and harmonizing with, basically all of it. All right, so personality and identity matrix. What do I mean by the personality and identity matrix? Let's see. Okay. So the personality matrix, what I'm referring to is like your personal traits, your tendencies, other traits, your perspective of the outer world, our sensory systems and how they're developed, and why, we might have certain likes and dislikes for taste and certain textures and things like that. and other aspects. It's imprinted into the physical body and the body systems. And so it feels like it's included past life experiences and thus karmic overlays of a 12 astrology system. So now, particularly for me, since in the 12 astrology, I was born a Capricorn. So I don't know if I was feeling it particularly more because of this, what's going on with correcting the goat, the Baphomet goat, and then really feeling Saturn for myself and how that was holding a particular pattern in my body where it was like really right in the center of my torso. Like, oh my gosh, I need to clear that, but I don't know how to clear it. And there's something really holding on tight to it, and it feels like it's Saturn and um, one of its largest moon, Titan. But anyway, regardless of whether you're Capricorn or not, or whether you're Capricorn in your chart, it does feel like in the 12 astrology system, Capricorn and Aries were kind of rigidly holding a system together, let's say. Uh, okay, so the personality and identity matrix, yeah. So the personal traits, tendencies, so the identity matrix, I'm defining what I felt like what was coming, is role identity, beliefs of the mind, even imprints of what the outer world tells you, you are. So in this 3D matrix, right, we've been more reliant on the outer world telling us what reality is. And obviously some people more so than others. Some people are, naturally know that that's what the outside world tells you is not, correct, Um, but most of us, or at least, for me too, that I tended to rely on what the outer world told me I was and whether what would make me valuable or not valuable, in a sense. Um, let me blow this up a bit more too. Yeah, there we go. Do that, make it a little bit bigger. Zoom in. Okay, so the autist may also have this imprint of beliefs from the outer world on their body. And I've seen this on Samantha, as she's embodying, um, where we had to, do some clearing on her, skin, the skin matrix, maybe even in her muscle tissues of what the outer world, saw her as. So this is what, also got imprinted into her body. I don't know if we've gotten all of it. And again, some of this, we have to clear maybe several times uh, as we continue to shift and these cosmic waves come in. So we may have to do a clearing again. I don't know. But anyway, just putting that out there. So this is new and evolving information. And around the planet, there's many other star seeds, and I feel like this is what the cosmic information and what kind of at a stage that we're in. So other people may be picking up on these kinds of insights in a different way. So the new personality and identity matrix emerging based on 13 zodiac system and the correction of planetary influence weaves a personality and identity matrix that's in alignment with the soul matrix, the oversoul matrix, and the over avatar matrix. Um, so what I was seeing was like this being above me with these eyes, and I was like, well, who are you? Are you supposed to be here or not? Are you trying to infiltrate me or what is it? But it was my avatar. It was my avatar self. So that's going to come in, I think, more readily and easily. Uh, okay, let's see. There was two new comments here. Please excuse me, need to step away. Over to the rest of the recording process. Thank you, Shelly. Okay. Yes, no problem. I know it's late for some of you out there. So, if you need to drop off anytime, please feel free to do so. So anyway, um, it seems to be, there's soul matrix, over soul matrix, and then the avatar matrix. So soul matrix would be the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional aspect. And the personal soul matrix, I feel it in the heart or right at that fourth heart chakra level. And I see it like as a star pattern and has a matrix to it. And some people might see it like a mandala or a flower kind of pattern. And then we have an oversoul matrix, which is uh, seventh, eighth, and ninth dimensional, and that holds like our galactic expressions, memories. It's Hyperborean, as we talked about before, and um, it is also where we kind of access collective consciousness, on the planet, and we operate as more of a collective consciousness. And the avatar matrix would be at the 10th, 11th, and 12th dimensional levels. So uh, that's what I'm talking about here. So it feels like all of these layers now are having an influence in building our uh, this new kind of personality and identity matrix, where then we would our identity would come more from our inner sense. One of the things that we're transitioning to is where each individual is less reliant on the outer world telling us what we are, but our own inner world sense. And this is kind of where the autists operate. They operate more from that inner sense, and it's like balance. It's like to balance out the human that's been really operating more on the outer world of telling us what reality is. And so they're kind of bringing that awareness back to us, that reality is really our inner world and our connection to source, and also then beyond time and space, that's the true reality. And when we do that, then we see the heavens, and so we create that in our outer world to match what we are experiencing in our inner world. um, I think you all understand that. So the Baphomet grid and the Luciferian covenant, this is obviously not exactly what the Baphomet grid is. This is kind of how, I saw it as an analogy. So when we come in uh, to this 3D plane, um, we have to pass through, like, let's say, these gates that and they call it the Baphomet grid, and we make a Luciferian sort of covenant. um in my From my perspective, I believe that this 3D world it's Satan and Lucifer's world, really. This is what they operated on. So we make an agreement to this Luciferian, to this world, the conditions of this world, and um, uh, it's a world of forgetfulness, where we forget who we are. So, and from the soul perspective, it's for an experience, you know, and so the autists, it's like their bodies come through, right? And in this Baphomet grid, then um, we get a lot of implants and uh, riders, let's say. Those would be, yeah, the attachments and things like that. uh, that we get when we're born. It's it's in our flesh. It's a part of us. We don't even know that they're there. It's kind of parasitic, as well. Not to sound disgusting, but uh, and I think a lot of star seeds to various degrees don't fully come in, and we don't really embody as well, to various degrees, but they keep their main part of their consciousness outside the grid, again, mainly in that seventh, eighth, and ninth dimensional realms, probably like eighth dimension, really, um, so that they can continue to know, maintain their connection to source and not forget who they are, right? Um, but again, since their bodies are part of this system, they also then take on this dead light, or miasma, as some people call it. What else was I going to say about this? So this is sort of the covenant, and I think of it at this point as a soul agreement in a sense, uh, and a sort of a forgetfulness for certain lessons. But to me, it's like, okay, I'm done with those lessons. I don't need any of those lessons. I don't need any karmic lessons. I don't need any of it. I'm done with it. Uh, and so this is part of the bifurcation. So now whether this is all going to disappear in one day for everybody, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out for other people. And so then again, the autists, their bodies, they also then experience discomfort in their bodies, these biosuits that doesn't feel like they really fit all that well. So a few years ago too, I did see there were like, this is, I call this the fourth stage. So there were these stages where this Baphomet grid was being dissolved, and I thought it all dissolved then, but as we see some things that we see happening, um, it may take a while to kind of translate, because we're kind of seeing it in a higher dimension, and now then it kind of uh, has to seep through more of the density. So it feels like this is going to be happening. I don't know. I don't know if it's right now or in a couple of years. But that 777 alignment that I talked about before, of the seven higher heavens, the seven lower heavens, which is our world, which I just call the middle heavens now, and the seven quote micro heavens into the quantum field. Um, this that alignment and the way we're accessing the quantum field now feels like it's very significant in why a lot of this uh, can be dissolved, and now why we're seeing um, some of these other phantom matrix, I'm just going to call them barriers to even accessing our um, the planetary uh, harmonics in the solar system that would manifest a body uh, that is feels more at ease, let's say. Okay, is that making sense? So this is what I've seen from Samantha and the autists, is what they showed me a few years ago. Uh, okay. So some of you may remember this. I shared this last year when Sammy was having me draw all those cubes. So this is uh, the the 13 zodiac constellations. This one is Ophiuchus over here, then Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. Let's see if I can remember them all. Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, yeah, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Yeah, so Sam had me put these correct pentagrams over Aries, oh no, Capricorn and Aries over here. And then planetary wise as well, you might remember, some of you might remember from last year, I shared this last year as well, all these cubes around the planet. And the cubes represent the hypercube. This is the hypercube, the tesseract. And she had me put it around Mars, over Mars, and also then Saturn over here. Okay, so I'm gonna get that process going. So the 8D Saturn, and again, for me, it felt like it had a particularly strong hold. And yeah, there are other member who's not here tonight, who she shared several links from the Ascension Glossary about Saturn and the 13 zodiacs and a few others that I thought were really key. So I'll keep sharing some of those because some of them are quite long. But yeah, Saturn was being used as like an alien base to radiate out transmissions of distortions, to our world. So Mars as well. And Mars feels like it has an important role in our bone structure, and the bone matrix. So, I'm wondering why too, if this is why some of us may be experiencing some of these structural issues with our body, the bones and the fascia and ligaments, and tendons, those aspects that give us our form, and that's also then connected to the bones. So this is Mars feels it's like it's very important uh, to that process. So and again, I included in its moons because the moons of Saturn and might be some of the other planets as well. Other planetary moons might be affecting you in particular ways. So in the meditation, we'll kind of um, release from all of that as well. But now we're getting down to the bare bones, I think, so to speak. Okay, so and I've shared this in the past as a blog and other things. So this is the 13 zodiacs, and the autists had me draw this, I think in like 2019, 2020, right in that time frame. And here is Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus has a particular connection to Gemini because in the 13 sign system, Gemini represents the masculine, feminine that are in divine union. And so Ophiuchus, again, transmitting this or transducing this sound ether. And when we include Ophiuchus, it brings a sense of ease to the body, because I think a lot of people on the planet have experienced that total silence of the omniverse, to various degrees and at different times in meditation. But with Ophiuchus actively in our birth chart, then it feels like we'll feel that quote warmth of the creator, the word of God, in a sense, the utter silence, the breath, the heartbeat of the cosmos and God's source beyond outside of time and space. And so there's a level of inner comfort and peace from that. The other piece about the 13 zodiacs and with Gemini being the balance of masculine and feminine is that down to the atomic level, right? The proton and electron, which has a positive and negative charge, uh, in this phantom matrix system, um, then even the electron and the proton, their relationship has been off in a sense, where then the electron charge feels sharp. And some, have said that it's like especially fear stimulates the electron to spin at a certain vibratory state that produces what's called what some call loosh. And so it's like a way for these quote uh, negative aliens, as some call them, these other beings of lower forms who are satanic and let's say Luciferian, they siphon that energy um, for themselves to it fuels them somehow. And when you even think about something sick like satanic ritual abuse, where they put people in that utter fear, that they're siphoning that loosh because that the electrons are um, in that terror state, and sociopaths, as well. They're siphoning that kind of energy that it produces from the electron. So when you come into more neutral balance, which is also then Christ consciousness, um, the Trinity, this is why we see those three, the three. It's the electron and the neutron the charges, which are kind of neutralizing. And in one of the blogs several months ago, I shared that a new hydrogen was coming because the hydrogen was already it's already here in a sense. Um, the hydrogen is the base atom of our physical reality as we know it right now, and it has one proton and one neutron. Now, no, not neutron, one proton and one electron. And there are some, they call deuterium, where there is a neutron, but that's actually not, we're not supposed to be really using those because it warps the molecule from what, or the atom from what I heard. It's caused, creates heavy hydrogen is what it's called. But anyway, so the hydrogen atom as the proton, pure proton and electron in neutral balance, it will enable us to even physically, right, manifest as in a more neutral way, in neutrality, as in more sacred neutrality. This is the sacred neutrality of 0 point, the way source is operating in 0 point outside of space, time and space. So uh, this is why for the autists, and Sam, she wasn't going to embody until now, these things can be corrected so that she can experience more of that ease in her body. When you think about our DNA, our genes, um, the right deoxyribonucleic acids, as they're called, there's hydrogens all over the place. There's hydrogens and fatty acids, and there's, hydrogen, everywhere. It's in water, it's in, it's everywhere. And so it's coming into that neutrality physically, and then balancing that uh what we've been calling mental and emotional, and a semi, and the other autist is saying it's really one. And this mental and emotional body thing is really even a concept of uh, planetary dysfunction, the planetary system not really operating sort of in harmony. Uh, and so when we're operating in a 12 system zodiac without Ophiuchus, we're constantly trying to balance that neutrality. I mean, constantly come back into neutrality, constantly trying to balance the positive and the negative. People talk about polarity on that continuum of you know two opposite ends, and where we're always trying to come back into balance, and we see it in our outer world in how we you know, it's too much of one thing and then we swing to the other side. I mean, even our political parties of Democrat and Republicans, communism and fascism, uh, we swing each way and then we go, oh no, we went too far this way. Oh no, we went too far that way. And then so we're all constantly struggling to come back into balance. So when we can operate in more of this neutrality, then we can spend our energy really building and continuing to build on that concept of heaven on earth, so to speak. Oh, looks like somebody had something in the chat. Okay. Yeah, so Melina says, yeah, in this 13 zodiac, yeah, you would be Ophiuchus. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, and I'm a Sagittarius, a fire sign. So, uh, we'll see how that goes here. Okay, so one of the things we talk about a little bit about is these mother art gates. So to people who are in energetic synthesis know Lisa Renee talks a lot about the mother art gates. It's located like below our feet. It's been our access into the quantum field. So what I noticed now, it's even these mother art gates have changed quite a bit, and the in the background is the quantum field, where it's like it's so easily accessible now that I don't even know. I mean, these gates are like they're like hardly existent. They're all like just transparent to me. So this would be the 13th gate. And when I asked, well, what do each of these 12 mean? And the answer that I got was that they represent the quantum access through all 12 dimensions. The 13th dimension is, we used to access it through the 13th dimension, which is where the cosmic mother comes through. So it's this is one of the big changes that's enabling a lot of the old to dissolve. The Andromedan gates refers to, just like it says, Andromeda. Lisa Renee, if I am saying this correctly, that we lost, the Milky Way galaxy lost its connection to Andromeda, which is, it's through Andromeda that we access the higher dimensional planes and into the 7 higher heavens. And, I think she says in the electric wars, I don't know how long ago, but like a long, long time ago, thousands and tens of thousands of years ago, uh, the Milky Way galaxy lost its connection, and so it became a denser 3D galaxy, so to speak. So there's 18 of these gates. The colors are similar. They represent 9 and then reflection of the 9, because in this world too, part of the manipulation of what it's like these mirrors in the Phantom Matrix that reflect things that are really not true or organic, you know. And so the Andromedan gates is reconnecting to through Andromeda. Some people already are connected, but this is supposed to make it easier for more people to reconnect to their galactic selves. It looks like it's going to reveal galactic histories that we may not have known about, or corrections uh, to about the galactic history. And so each of these gates are connecting into sectors through Andromeda, and what it fully does, I don't know yet, but we shall see. So we'll be working with that in the meditation. This was a transmission on Sunday coming through Pegasus that Sammy was telling me about, pointing out to me. It comes from Hatshepsut. So Hatshepsut was one of the few female pharaohs in Egypt. The history does not write about her very nicely, let's say. But she was what would you call it? She is like a Christ kind of consciousness figure, except in a female body. So to me, she kind of represents what a masculine expression in a female body would be, that's truly in balance. So anyway, so through Pegasus, she was transmitting this Ankh symbol, and some of you use the Ankh symbol, which is an ancient Egyptian symbol meaning for life. So, but in this case, Sammy said that she's transmitting these particular Ankhs, and there's three. I can't see them. There's three of them to stimulate a new brain chemistry, and it will also include the Earth's neurological system. This image I drew a few years ago as well. So it looks like, we've been getting a lot of these transmissions, and many other people were getting them as well for several years. And now it's kind of, in a sense, sort of to help us get used to the energy. And now it's going to really start to activate in our reality. I hope, I don't know, we keep saying that, like, yeah, any day now it's going to change. But I mean, it does feel like it's things are really going to start to change, and we're seeing it through the insanity in the outer world, in which is telling us that people are feeling the craziness because of these changes. They don't know what to hold on to, and they don't know what their reality really has been based on. So Sammy had also shown me that there's a lambda wave, that was even from a few years ago as well, of total body consciousness, and the tau wave of Gaia. And I think we'll probably do more work with that next month. So this also changes then the endocrine system, because the endocrine system produces these hormones, right? Which are like, they're really like translators to the physical body. They're giving instructions through these, through the chemistry and molecules. And it even feels like in the gut that it'll start to produce new neurotransmitters, I guess the gut also is capable of producing serotonin, right? But it's a little different than what the brain produces as serotonin. That's the feel-good hormone. It gives us a sense of peace. So the gut and the brain coming into alignment. The gut, from what I read a few years ago about uh, cannabinoids or CBD produces, I think some research uh, had shown that the gut produces something called anandamide, which is a natural cannabinoid uh, that our body produces, which these cannabinoids, these stimulate and promote cell to cell communication through chemistry, in a sense. So they suspect that I was reading about it a few years ago because I was a little nervous about giving Sammy CBD, and so I wanted to know a little bit more about it. So when I started reading it a little bit more about it, I thought it was an interesting thing. So they don't know the potential of what uh, types of cannabinoids or cannabidiols, I think it's called, that our body is natural cannabidiols that our bodies can produce. And, it's naturally kind of helps with detoxing from those glial cells. I think, right? Those are the support cells around our neurons and spinal cord and things like that. So the potential for, well, the probability for natural detox in our bodies is getting higher and higher, it feels like. So let's see. The other image that's going to be energetic is this vulture. And I know it doesn't have feet. I erased the feet because I was having trouble drawing the feet, the talons. So I erased it, and I thought, you know what, that actually looks like then the vulture is like really it's planted its feet in the earth. Um, at first I thought, is this a symbol of some type of Luciferian um, being? But as I started drawing it, I thought, no, it's energetic. And when you think about what a vulture does, right, it cleans off down to the bone, like dead meat, dead animals, down to the bone, and is able to it's a way of how the earth sort of cleanses herself and removes bacteria and other types of organisms that could be harmful, to us. So, so it's also a sign of rebirth. So if I don't mention it, it will also be this vulture will be active in the meditation. Yeah, no, it's getting almost 8 o'clock here. So we're also going to be relying on some of the spinning geometries, I just call them. Uh, pentavector. This one is called hexavector for 6 sides, and heptavector for 7 sides. So this helps clear out the Baphomet, further clearing the Baphomet. The hexagon, my understanding, represents the astral body. So if the pentagram represents the ether body, then the hexagram, 6 sides, represents the astral body. And I'm not sure what the hepta, the 7, is for, but I drew those a couple years ago. That one, these two anyway. So trying to move on here. This is will assist us in building a new personality matrix that's in harmony with the soul, putting that soul matrix, our personal soul, more in charge, and balancing the brain. so that the heart is really the master in a sense, and then an energetic egg that you can put around yourself to continue to dissolve and support the personality matrix and identity to develop. So yeah, these are all just these are images. This is what I call a platinum cell in this kind of elliptical shape, which is kind of like the shape of the zodiac. It's kind of an ellipse-like shape, and also the planets are kind of on this ellipsoid field. And so this is will help to zero in on I'm just calling it your new soul contract, in a sense, that is literally woven into the body, because those morphogenetic forces from the zodiac and the elements like earth, air, water, and fire that they represent, in the particular angles, in the way, your unique birth imprint is manifested. It's these zodiacs and then the planetary system that actually activates our genes. So it feels like it's important to work or activate these in order to get the correct activations of the new genes, and what they call junk DNA to be reassembled, and so forth. Yeah, I'm losing my words here for a moment. Okay, so examples of these crystalline eggs. So, and there's many more types and colors that each of you can activate. Yeah. So yeah, Melina had to leave. It's late for her out there. Thank you, Melina. And you can put these around different aspects of your body, like around your physical body, then the galactic self, the universal self, and then some, like Sammy will have like a cosmic self, cosmic body that connects into the cosmos. So this was actually, I came across this, was from 2019. And I thought, oh, that's a good list of all the organs and body systems to get them all into the meditation. So even if I don't mention it, so that we're working with all these systems, so to speak. And again, there's that geometry of the five-pointed human, the pentagram human. Okay. So if you're all ready for the meditation, I have the intention set again. And if you're a parent and you haven't activated, you haven't done the 13 zodiac for your child, listen to your own guidance from your child's higher self. If it might be too much for them, you can just, start by printing out their 13 zodiac chart. I'll share the link again. But you can start by doing that, especially if your child has seizures or is prone to seizures. I don't know what that will do. I don't know if going forward, other people's 13 zodiac charts will just start to activate as we, dissolve some of these things, these overlays and things. So I don't know how that's going to go for other people. And again, the right time, right place, because it feels like this 13 Zodiac is gonna keep getting activated, at least for the next, I don't know, couple of years, around these equinoxes. So, listen to your own inner guidance and your child's higher self guidance. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I know it was kind of a long one. Hopefully, it made sense. And happy integrating.